Welcome to the Wheel Reads, Cosmere Reads.
Cosmere edition.
Something like the Cosmere edition. Yeah. So we're continuing on talking about Cosmere. So if you haven't before read Alloy of Law, which is book 4 of Mistborn, book 1 of Error 2, I suggest leaving. Because we are going to be talking spoilers. But if you have read it and you want to stick around, free to interact and chat. Keep that spoiler free through book 1. That's where Chris is right now. We just finished reading book 1 of our Alloy of Law. So we're talking all about that tonight. And the difference is, we're going to go through all over the place, be scattered brain, just because that's how we do these things. So yeah. Hi everybody in chat, and if you guys have questions along the way, feel free to ask questions during the recording. We will try to answer any that you have, and yeah, we'll try to get to all of them. So yeah, so before we get into anything else, because in case people are sticking around, just to get an idea, how would you rate this book? You compare it now to Era 1. It's a different feel, completely different feel.
I was just about to say, I don't know that there's a fair. So first off, it was a much quicker read. So much shorter book.
Sure.
There were a lot of assumptions made, so things were kind of breezed over rather than really dove into. So it's kind of like assume that if you're reading Era 2, you've read Era 1, at least so you can understand the metals, understand the alloys, understand the history of the religions. And pretty much everybody gets their own religion in some way, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but it's like comparing apples to orange. As far as a read goes, if I'm rating it 1 out of 10, like 1 being don't ever read it, and 10 being you die, you should die.
Read it before you die. So,
read it, or like
should be on your bucket list.
Exactly. So like this is a book that I'm gonna have to rate it like an 8.5 to a 9 for sure. Yeah. And I'm only doing that because I'm expecting 2, 3, and 4 to be better. And that's hard because this is a great book.
it's a completely different tone to the first one. The first one's a lot more philosophical, a lot more dire. Like there's a lot bigger. The big bad is a lot bigger. Like you have the whole world at stake. And here it's just
as far as we know, the world is not at stake. So I would put it that way. Like I have my thoughts and theories. And again, guys, we're going all over the place because I'm just talking. And the minute I found out that women were being captured and kept, I automatically went to, this reminds me of what was being done with the breeding of the terrorist people. And in my mind, I know this is horrible because my mind thought about it before it was even brought up. It was like, if you want stronger Allomancers and you want to bring back Mistborns, the best way to do it is to grab your highest I can't think of the word. Anyway, you look for those
highest genetic.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was right, but I'm glad I'm right. But at the same time, I'm not, because it's kind of that was a great book. And like the Twinborn, now that's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, so that's something that's new in these books. Is like, it's 300 years or 400 years in the future after end of Era 1, and pretty much Mistborns have been bred out. They're just done. Like they don't exist anymore. Really, they're not even just rare. In book 1, in the first era, they're rare. Now they're just gone. They don't exist. But pretty much everyone is like mixed with Terrace blood. So everyone has that is an Allomancer, is also a fair chemist, kind of, sort of. They have
they're Lord Rulers all over again. Like.
Yeah.
The only difference is he could use everything. He was a Mistborn and a alchemist, and now we've got our Twinborn individuals, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. So she's still using the same concept. She's just kind of put everything kind of twisted a little bit, and you get a lot more into the Fair Kimmy and like all the powers they have, which are pretty badass. Like,
for real. And then you even pull in Kolosk. Like,
yeah,
they're not supposed to be human creatures; they're humanoid creations out of other humans. So I guess that was part of the change that that our Harmony made when he ascended to godhood, is to make Kolosk actual people.
Right. Yeah.
Which is really neat. That was a good gift to them.
Right. Yeah.
Says it. Did a good job.
Yeah. Says it did a good job. So it's pretty interesting, and there's a lot you get into. So I'm gonna try as hard as possible to let you lead a lot of the discussion. Reason being, I read these about a year ago for the first time, and they blend together for me, and I have not gone back and reread since then. So I don't want to spoil. I know you. Yeah. So I will let you lead. I'll ask questions, but then I won't be too leading on the questions. If anybody in chat is more up to, or at least has had it more fresh in their mind, at least this one book and not the entire series. Like I could ask questions away on the entire series, but I don't know what goes where. I know the general, the premise of this one, which is, like I said, it takes place 300 years, and it's about a lawman, Wax, who is the gentleman lawman, who's
Waxilium Landrian.
Yeah, who is actually a really rich guy who decides to take a life as a bounty hunter, pretty much, and wants to be
sheriff. We'll be
cool. Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. But he's for hire. He's a gun for hire.
Oh, I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. And he has a sidekick, Wayne, who is awesome.
Is awesome. If we want to talk about favorite characters, Wayne is definitely that man. Like, he is so slick and so sly, and he's got this hidden level of intelligence that nobody else understands. So, I definitely appreciated the nod to him.
Yeah, and Wayne comes from the hood. He was and Wax took him under his wing and kind of almost raised him, kind of sort of. It was
that's one of those type of things too.
Yeah, so kind of a cool little tidbit there. But yeah, so the whole premise of this one is, like you were saying in the beginning, there are women going missing. Wax is kind of hired to investigate this and try to figure it out and what's going on. And the plot gets really, really thick really fast. But he also runs into some other the main bad guy in this is Miles, who is Miles,
a beast is what he is.
who was a lawman as well.
Miles, 100 lives.
100 lives. Who can't die. Once took a bullet in the head and just walked off.
Exactly. So before we even go this far, we needed to stop and talk about the prologue and the death of Waxilium's love, and her name escapes me. So
Lassie, I think.
Yeah, I think
Lassie.
So
Lessie. Yeah.
So when it comes to Lessie, first and foremost, if you don't read the prologue, you're a dummy, because I think there's a lot of good stuff there, and it draws you into the book like no other. Like him starting off as a sheriff in the rough, going after a serial killer,
right?
And then he like goes down into this mine shaft, and as he's going down, he's seeing all of the victims, and they're in different poses, and they've been essentially mummified. Like that blew my mind to see that in the very beginning of the book. I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a book, and I'm probably going to have to stop many a times and pause and really give it a second. And then we get to this bad guy, and he's like, artists only get one shot, and this was the one shot, and this is going to be my one show because I know how this is going to go. And he like has the Wax's woman, who is also a badass,
right?
And Wax, like they always do this thing, like I'm gonna do my count off, and you're gonna dodge one way, and I'm gonna shoot the other way, and boom, I'm gonna get you out,
right?
And then he ends up killing her,
right?
Quote, killing her. I seriously believe that she is deeply ingrained in this plot from the book, and that she's going to come back by the end of book 2.
Okay.
And it's going to tear Wax up mentally because, you know, he leaves being a sheriff to go back home to take on House Landrian and to bring it back from ruin after his uncle essentially, quote unquote, laundered.
Right.
Or, well, he did. He laundered the money, but what it looked like he did was he put him in ruin and lost all the money. But he was essentially, he's Mr. Suit. Like, he's the actual bad guy. And I'll tell you this too. The minute we had this whole story about an uncle dying and him coming back, I was like, no, the uncle's not dead. Something's fishy. Like, right away, I was like, this is fishy. Uncle's not dead. Not sure what he's doing. In my mind, I thought he was going to be a good guy because Wax is such an awesome character doing so many good things. I just thought Uncle's got to be a good guy.
Yeah.
So, and in his own mind, he is. So, you know, it.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of take it, I guess, in a direction and kind of put some structure to this, let's first start talking about characters. I mean, so we got Wax and Wayne, we got the main characters. We have Leslie, we have Miles, the big bad. We also have a Chandra as well, right? Do we have a Chandra?
No. If we do, I don't know it.
Okay. No, we don't. Never mind.
Nope.
They mentioned them, though. Because they mentioned the Asian ones, I think.
Briefly, but they never really.
Yeah, they don't go into it too much. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. They mentioned Kolos.
Yes, because
they're bred. But one of the guys on Miles' gang is part
Kolos and Pewter Arm.
Right.
Like, not even fair.
Yeah.
Strong and stronger. Like, why not?
Right. Yeah.
And definitely. Fast like no other.
Oh, so it's. I was thinking of Marcia, who's a pulsar. Marcia, the other. Yeah, she's in there a lot. The other lady.
You have Steris, who is the soon-to-be betrothed to Waxilium. So Waxilium is making the attempt to find a wife and bring his home out of ruin, and he essentially meets up with Steris and her father, and then Steris's cousin, Maris. I think I pronounced that correctly. Who is actually Steris's half sister, and the bastard of, you know, their father, whatever. So, and you know, Steris gets captured, and she's one of these people who the Vanishers, which is the name of the bad guys, takes for their little progeny adventure.
Right. Sure. Yeah. And you have a couple other characters as well, like tertiary characters like Renette, Wayne's interest, who's like
she's a badass gunmaker. That introduction was pretty cool because the whole time Wax is like, we're not going to her. We're gonna leave Renette alone. Leave Renette alone. And then they have to go to Renette, and the first thing she does, they knock, and she opens the door, and they're like, or she comes to the door, and they're like, stand back, stand to the side, boom, out with a shotgun. I'm gonna shoot you dead if you don't get off my steps.
Yeah,
but she's actually a genius. I really like her.
Yeah, and at the very end, you get good old Iron Eyes.
Oh, that was absolutely true. So I'm trying to figure out. Because when Iron Eyes came out, he mentioned Breeze. He's like, I'm not as good at this as Breeze it was.
Right.
So who is this Iron Eyes? Was my question. Is this oh darn. The brother.
Marsh?
Yeah, it's this Marsh. Like, Marsh is supposed to be dead, but did he bring Marsh back?
Yeah.
Just
good speculation.
Now, I mean, because the conversation keeps talking about harmony.
Right.
So
who's the god now?
Exactly. Well, and we know who Harmony is.
Sure.
So if that's the case, then Harmony has to have kind of gods on the good side and gods on the bad side to kind of balance things out and make sure things stay harmonious.
Right.
You got to still have ruin and
preservation. Right. He's both. So exactly.
So these are his agents.
So overall, I guess thoughts on all these characters. Like y'all mentioned that you loved Wayne. I love Wayne too. Wayne's
awesome. Absolute favorite. I mean, Waxillium is great. Wax is awesome. Like
Wax is great. Yeah,
I love how he goes through his PTSD stage and how he begins to. They show like the coping of that through work, and then they show him overcoming that struggle. Like I like that in a character because it makes them very human. And he talks about his own faults and having to come to terms with society again, and how he didn't realize that where he grew up was tougher than the rough.
Right.
And then you have Marcy. Am I pronouncing it wrong? Marcy is how you pronounce it.
Marcy, yes.
Who, the illegitimate daughter of the Lord, and she has the power to essentially slow down time or make you feel like time is slowed down, which
Wayne has speed bubble. He does the exact opposite.
Exactly, which is pretty dope. Like both things are cool, and I knew that her power was gonna come into play big time at some point because Waxillium's like, no, you have an awesome power. Don't ever feel bad about it. And it was brilliant how Sanderson, again, I'm using that word with him, brilliantly done how he had her slow down time for Miles and for Wax while hundreds of constables came to arrest Miles without him even knowing. Just very well done.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So, I mean, obviously, we know this magic system. Well, the magic system has definitely been changed a little bit. Not the nuts and bolts of it, but just the, like I said, twin bore and things like that. What do you think about it being like an industrial revolution time, like guns, trains, all those things? We're in a completely
I was very much concerned about trying to tie magic into machinery. But like you think about the steampunk era and like what like that's what it really reminded me of. So I'm like, all right, they're gonna figure out an awesome way to do this. At one point I thought we are gonna have people bending bullets and stuff like that. Like
what kind did they do?
Shooting through the time bubble and watching it ricochet.
And then you have people that are pullers that wear steel plates on their chest so they can pull the bullets in. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did a really well job of just making the magic system work with the Industrial Revolution. We get to see what 300 and some years of advancement has done for humans and how harmony has changed the different species to be able to intermingle, to look similar, to breed together, to become one, but still have separate entities. And then we also kind of get to see Harmony's changes. It's very vague, but says it's always the helper. But he only does things in ways where balance is still there. That's very much a Says It thing.
Oh yeah.
So, but I love the idea of incorporating the skyscrapers, and then you can push harder and farther, and you can see more, and you can do more, and the guns kind of level out the playing field for the average person. But then your above average person is also using these tools too, so it's like they become even more deadly. I don't know. Vin was a beast, but
and then using aluminum bullets to things like that. They've developed using different types of And of course, what
Renette, she flat out developed numerous types of bullets that she can kill the different types of twin-born and allomancers, like
like ones that can't, like bullets that can't be tracked because they're aluminum casings or whatever, and then they break apart in the last second because you push them away and then they still hit you, like things like that. Just so different rounds for different types of allomancers, which is pretty cool. Trying to use technology to beat it is a fascinating thing.
Yes.
So what do you think about did you enjoy the whole entire cat and mouse game with the Vanishers and like trying to figure out what their plot line was, who are they working for, what's their motivation, like why are they doing what they're doing?
So I think that was one part that I'm not gonna say it was obvious to me,
sure,
but it was easy to figure out. I think part of that is because after you're reading somebody like Jordan and you've read Martin, you've read other authors who have that same kind of writing style, you begin to be able to predict somewhat well. So I knew right away that when it came to the Vanishers, I did have the thought that maybe there was some more allomancy at play than what there was, but I was like, they're swapping out the cars. I knew that right away.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're breaking into, moving everything and getting away in 5 minutes. They're swapping the cars.
Then put them onto boats on the channel, and
that was the only connection I didn't make because I didn't know about the canals being so close until we got later in the book, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's how they're doing it. So, but the twists and turns of we're doing it for the money, we're doing it for this and we're doing it for that, and all of a sudden it's like we're doing it for the insurance. I was like, damn, well, I would have never thought about that. So, the jewels and stuff, we get those, but you know what? Everybody who was stolen from gets money back. And you know what? Everything that was stolen, we have, and we're getting a return. So, we're just doubling up, and I'm making more and more money every second. And it's like, and then it's like, I got rid of one of my enemies. Like,
sure,
Mr. Suit is a beast. Like he is like, that's the man that I would be like.
He doesn't care either.
No, he's like, and would you like a steak while we talk about this? I'm gonna have steak.
Oh, no steak.
And your finest red wine, and Wax at the end is like, no, you're going down right now. And he's like, and then the whole cart just is like full of Alabama, just ready to go to work. He's like, yeah, you didn't think that through very well, did you? Like,
hey, things can be that easy.
With my own entourage, like let's
right. So what are some of your favorite scenes? I mean, there's a lot of action scenes. I mean, obviously the train scene's really good. The warehouse scene's really good. But what is your? I have two of my favorite scenes from this book. But I wanted to see what.
I'll give you one. You give me one. How about that? So
okay, sounds good.
One of my favorite scenes was the deductive skills of Wax and Morris. Like when they sat there in the room and they start breaking down everything that's going on. They're talking about, I think this is happening because of that, and that's happening because of that, and this is connected in that way. And they start to kind of meeting of the minds. I'm that type of person. I love to look at a scenario and then just break it down. So that was, and it just shows the thought that was put into it by Sanderson to have that verbalized in a way that you can feel like you're a part of a conversation that was really unfolding rapidly. And then you're kind of seeing it from Wayne's perspective, which is hilarious because he's like, they're doing their smart people thing. I'm going to come over here and have a bite to eat. Oh, they added some new drawings to their board. I wonder if there's scones in around here. And, that's a nice piece of silver. I'll trade him a scarf while we wait. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's always funny when Wayne justifies things like, "Oh, I traded." It's like, I traded some lint in my pocket for this $1 million thing. It's a fair trade, right? Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes, at least for action, is definitely the scene with his butler assassination attempt.
Yeah,
that was
which happened right after the deductive stuff.
Right. Yeah, which which was really close. And then just in general, it's not one particular scene. Like there's a couple of particular scenes, but like just Wayne's master disguise. Just love whatever he does.
Yes, absolutely. When he goes in and he's the constable. No, what was the term? Yes, is it a constable?
Constable, yeah, constable.
That right there was my second favorite because he owned the space. He walks in, he's like, "What are you doing? Where is the person in charge here?" Like he just goes off.
I need to speak to the prince prisoner right now. Yeah. It's like, are you give permission? Don't call your superior. Just get me in there right now.
That was awesome. And he came out with all the information he needed.
Exactly. He got everything he needed. It's like, all right,
masterfully done. Masterfully done.
Yeah, he's and just all the accents he can do. That's kind of his specialty is come up with different accents. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely. So overall plot arc, I mean, obviously, where do you think, where are we going from here? I guess that's good. The transition point. Where can we talk about? What's your predictions on what, what's the bigger picture? I mean, Miles is done at the end. So he sees execution. He's done. So the big bad in this is definitely not the big bad.
Crazy. Let's just talk about Miles in general real quick.
Sure.
Infinite life, essentially. They had to strip him of every piece of gold on his body because this man was breaking bones and then standing up and walking like it was nothing. Jumping 20 feet onto the ground below so that your men could see that you're essentially undefeatable just because you can. Badass. Like there's no other word for it. Having your eyeball blown out. Yeah, and then like head goes back and you look like this, open your eye and it's forming back. Like I want to see this live action. Like this is the one. Like Area 1 is gonna be great, but Area 2, the blood, the gore, I see like the boys mixed with whatever.
Yeah,
like
that's
good. Like anyway, but where is it gonna go from here?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't get any
I don't know. Like that, I'm going to be honest with you. He really does have me stumped. And I think part of it is the fact that we don't go super far into the religions. And I think that is the bigger part that we really need to look at. I think it's really Trellism that's going to be the religion we have to worry about.
Okay.
And
not the Church of the Survivor.
Nah, not so much the Church of the Survivor. I mean, it's there and it's still around. Yeah. But that's supposed to be the one for the good guys, you know. But Trellism, I think, is going to be the one that, because it's kind of got that feeling of superiority. And so I think, like I said, that they are creating a breeding program to try to get Mistborn back. And better than Mistborn, but Mistborn that are like the Lord Ruler, that are also have Fair Alchemist powers.
Right.
And you know, you have children that way and you teach them to obey you, and then you have an army. That's not to say he doesn't already. I say Mr. Suit in my mind is that guy. Now there might be somebody over him, but I'm not sure. At this point, he just seems to kind of be running everything. But he may even already have a couple of Mistborns because we don't know how long this has been going on.
No, we don't.
Like, this isn't a new thing. Like, he's been plotting for a while. I mean, he faked his own death. He took Wax's sister, who, I hate to say this because it's really gross, but she's got that heritage too. Now, she might end up being on his side. I kind of have that thought too. Like, maybe over time he corrupted her because he's like, you know, we're of an ancient ruling bloodline. Like, you should be with us. And in his mind, Wax is going to join them at some point, which would be a huge twist. If that's the case, then Wayne's going to kill him, but I don't think that's going to happen.
So a couple also historical figures, I guess. Harmony, obviously, we know who that is. They talk a lot about the Ascendant Warrior, which is Vin. And Lord Mistborn. Did you guess who?
Ellen.
Actually, it's not Ellen.
Lord Mistborn?
Uh-huh.
Oh, then would that be Kelsier?
Nope. I don't know if it actually
Oh,
mentions it.
no. Never mind. I know. It's our friend that would, oh damn. His name just left my mind. Hold on. It's the one that burned himself up because
Yep.
yes. What is his name? Give it to me now.
Spook.
Yes. Yeah. I knew that when I read the book, but it breezed through it so quick.
Yeah. And he ended up writing all the laws down after Ellen died. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pretty cool that Spook finally got recognized for what he is.
Exactly.
Ellen really doesn't come back except for I feel like the city was named after him.
Yeah, pretty much. That
was the only nod to Ellen that really happened, which kind of sucks. Ellen was a major player, but at least you got Ellendale.
Yeah, and then we do have, I guess, a couple of major religions as well. You have the survivorism, the Church of Survivor. You have Pantheism, which is what Wax is, where they all wear like earrings of that, because that allows Harmony to communicate with them.
Which is genius. He stole that from the fact he took that right from Vin.
Yeah,
like so that is very much a Seiza thing. All I want you to do is pray for 15 minutes, no set posture.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be about anything specific. I just want to talk to you and learn about you.
Yeah, and then the Trollism, which is yeah. So, yeah,
and then whatever the group that worships Iron Eyes.
Silverism is what they call it, but yeah,
I don't know
Sliverism.
Sliver. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I do remember talking about Lord Sliver.
Yeah,
but which is what Miles believed in, I guess. I feel like he was a survivorist at some point, and then kind of changed over time, even though he said he always had been that way.
No, so. Miles was a Trellism.
Oh, a Trellis. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a quote from it that says, "Why had 12 made men like me, if not to see wrongs righted?"
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
true.
he was that. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's So you have no predictions as far as where we're going from here, as far as what's his uncle's main plan? What do you think? What do you think's going on there? Let's start there. Let's kind of break it down.
So, again, an elitist group. I feel like his main objective is, of course, to create Mistborns and more Twinborns, and I can see him creating an army of people to kind of make everybody else subservient to them.
Okay.
I almost see him attempting to wipe out people that aren't, that don't have power.
Sure.
A little genocide, I guess. I don't know though. Like it kills me because money shouldn't be the object, but clearly he still has a desire to make his riches in whatever way he can. But I think it's just more about that elitism. But this book, it really threw me off because it was so short and it didn't really give me what Era 1 gave me. It didn't create this big foundation for things. If it did, it did it in such a subtle way that I know the issues of, like, the big issue, Trellism, is definitely an issue. And I know that with that, maybe the breaking of harmony comes when humans take it too far on one side, because then that belief then empowers one over the other, particularly Ruin. So like I'm thinking about the titles of the books, and we know one's going to be the Lost Metal, which ATM is the Lost Metal. So I'm thinking maybe somewhere in the end of Era 2, Ruin kind of gets free of preservation because of the acts of humans.
Okay.
And then I don't know what's going to happen to Sazed. Harmony's gone. So does that mean Sazed's dead? I don't know.
Right.
Or does he retain his essence as preservation? Does he get allowed to come back, like kind of reincarnate to lead in for the potential of reestablishing harmony. Like, I think that's the grander thought, because that's going to lead into Era 3. That's my thought. I don't know if there's actually a connection or not, but I can't really figure anything else that would make sense at this point.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think Harmony's end game is?
To stay whole.
Okay. I mean, do you think he has any on wax on himself? Or do you think he has any motivation or plot?
I don't think it's to the level of ruin, but I definitely know that he is trying to lead Wax in a way that he's not tipping the scales to preservation side too much.
Okay.
I think, Sazed Harmony gets to come into play in those moments where things are getting tipped more to the ruin side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think he's going to help Wax get his sister back.
Okay.
I really hope she's not on the bad side, but I have just this feeling.
Okay.
I know right now we're looking at Wax marrying whatever name
Steris,
Steris, but I don't see that actually happening. I think he's going to marry the sister.
Marcy,
yeah. Okay. I think that's going to happen.
Marcy.
Yes.
Marcy. Marcy, thank you.
So
yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Anything else as far as like overall stuff that I'm missing? I know it's a short book, but there's still so much that happens. I mean, we kind of got into the Allomancy a little bit. Any questions from chat for Chris?
Yeah, that would be a good place to go. Does anybody have? Let's see. Era 2 is supposed to be standalone. Now. Oh.
Yeah, the first.
Oh, gotcha. So Era 2 is supposed to be a standalone novel. That makes sense because, like I said, I felt like there was a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
And then you had the epilogue.
Right.
And that kind of created room for there to be more.
Yeah.
And the fact that old Silver Eyes or Sliver Eyes or whatever comes and visits Marcy is just super ironic. The fact that she went, like, willingly was, let's go see what this character is. Like, he's like, I'm sorry, I know I pulled on you a lot. So that means like he's a Mistborn.
Yeah.
And then is he alive or is he like a entity? Like, I had thoughts.
Yeah. So what other Allomancy fair chemi combinations do you want to see in future books?
Oh man. He really did a good job of putting them together already.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the one that I wanted was Miles, so it already happened.
Okay.
I don't like that is the one thing. I think if you could, I feel like the advantage would have been if we had Wayne with the ability to heal faster and be able to stop time, but then he'd have to be a Mistborn. He'd have more than two. He wouldn't be Twinborn. So I don't know. I think he did a really great job. There's no other combinations I could really think of. And we know that we don't have the lost metal to use, because if you could burn that and then slow down time, then you could see all the possibilities and then just like shoot bullets at the possibilities and then unfreeze time and then like that would be cool.
Yeah, because A-Team's pretty much all gone at this point, so they can't see the future like these two. Yeah.
Well, I know Wayne has the ability for the fair alchemy and the allomancy, but I would like him to be able to heal quicker. I would like him to be more like Miles on top of his ability to speed up time.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So, what do you think since of the book that was given at the very end that Iron Eyes gave to Marcia? They said, "Give this to Wax."
I'm thinking it's got something to do with, I don't know. Like I have thought about it, and really I was like, maybe it's the plans that Mr. Suit came up with, or maybe it is the writings of Miles, because Miles left clues behind for Wax inadvertently, but he did write them down, and Wax understood Miles.
Okay.
So it could be Miles's personal journal. Maybe he was a writer on top of being a badass. And so he journaled about his interactions with Mr. Suit and the conversations that were being had. And it helps lead Wax to his sister. Because I think that's what the next book is really about, is Wax getting his sister back.
Sure. Yeah. The next book's called Shadows of Self, which I don't know if that...
I mean, that just alludes to my mind, you know, maybe we find some of that lost metal, but we know that's not the case. There's literally a book title called
The Lost Metal. Well, that hasn't come out yet. That comes out in November. So
I know, and that's why I think. And that's is that what era is that?
It's still Air 4. It's the last book of Air 2. Sorry, Air 2. It's the fourth book of Air 2. It's
and there's going to be an Era 3, right?
Yes, he said there might be. There might be an Air 4, but
that's what I'm saying. I really think Ruin's gonna push back into the world.
Okay, interesting. Or do you think these other characters, other religions might start to influence?
Well, yeah, there might be more than one god.
Okay,
or more than 2.
How many gods do you think there might be?
Well, there are 4 religions. Why not have 4 gods?
In the overall Cosmere, not just on Mistborn, but
exactly. Oh,
yeah.
I don't see. I need to read more, because I feel like in the Cosmere, the way he's setting this world up is like gods are only relevant to their particular people on their particular planets. So I don't know how many worlds there are and how many peoples there are.
Sure.
And like, if there's any part of Cosmere where there's space travel, then there's going to be all sorts of peoples with all sorts of gods. So
yeah. So you got Air 4, that's going to be space. But Air 3 is supposed to be Cold War style. Air 4 is space opera. So,
and we know that Sanderson likes to write about space stuff, so why not put all of this together in one great novella? Like,
yeah, wrap it all together.
Yeah, he better not.
I mean,
say that out loud.
Yeah, I mean, the main Cosmere, I guess, where you get the most of the lore and everything like that, comes from Stormlight. That's his centerpiece. But Mistborn came before that, as far as writing goes. At least Air 1, but yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm figuring that out. I know that there's going to be a lot more of these little sessions.
And I know Elantris, which is another one of his. It's a standalone novel, but that's on a different world too within the Cosmere. So I'm not sure where that fits.
And all of these have at minimum 2 gods of some sort, or a god that is 2 gods. If he's going to keep up with the whole idea of balance, so
yeah.
Maybe there's 16 gods total.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Keep up with Sanderson's whole love 16 for the number 16.
Yeah. 4 4s, 4s. Yep. Sounds good. Anything else? I know we got a couple more people just joined chat. We didn't spend a whole lot of time tonight just because it's not a long book. But after Bands of Mourning, you should definitely read Secret History. That's a good one to read.
What it's going to take is like a running list of this is what you read and this is the order you should probably read it in, because, there's clearly a lot of books.
Yeah, Secret History is just a novella. It's a short book, a tiny little book that just talks about kind of the secret history of Mistborn. Get some of the more inner workings. It's actually part of the.
I don't know why Mistborn went away.
Oh yeah,
because people like our Lord Mistborn. We had Spook, who was turned into a Mistborn. I'm sure there were other Mistborns besides Spook.
Right.
So what happened? Were they bred out? Were they diluted out? Was it something to do with all the mixing of the species that they kind of disappeared? You have to be a pure blood, and maybe that's why Mr. Suit is doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's lots of questions there. I mean, a lot of it has to do, maybe after the Lord Ruler was gone, a lot of it came from his plans.
Mr. Suit just wants a harem that he can control.
There you go. Yeah. Bands of Mourning is a third book, which, I mean, I guess you can read Secret History after that. That's not a bad place to read it, or wait till after Lost Metal. I don't know. We don't know the Lost Metal is going to be yet. So it's done. It's just not released.
It hasn't dropped.
Yeah, it hasn't dropped. So it's ready to go. It's in printing. So it can come out in November. But yeah, so I'm sure people out there have read it. Maybe Ipa's read it. Ipa's our resident Cosmere guru. He knows more about the Cosmere than I think anyone else I know.
Well, I will tell you, I am thoroughly enjoying it at this point.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So what? I'm trying to bounce around here. Without spoiling anything. So try to remember the plot line. So you had the train robberies. You had the warehouse scene. Anything else we're missing from the big plot lines? I mean,
I've barely seen anything yet. That's awesome. There's not much more that really happened that, of major concern. You have the battle on the train, which was awesome. But really, that was just Miles versus Wax.
Right.
And you
had the wedding dinner or whatever. Not wedding, but the dinner or whatever.
Which kind of was the catalyst that flipped the switch for Wax. Where, Miles clearly just was like, fuck it, kill them all. Have a little bit of fun, but we got to go. And that was probably my third favorite scene because Wax just flat out went off. They're like, there's 20-something dead. And the constable's like, see here, I've got to figure out a way to cover up for you. And they're like, no. It was all the bad guys. It's just Vanishers that are dead. Like, the other people are slightly wounded and, some boo-boos, but they're all alive.
Yeah. Definitely.
It put Wax on the Vin level for me.
Yeah. Yeah, Wax is pretty awesome. And like I said, the tone is a lot more fun. It's definitely
I could see this being, because it's just like cowboys and Indians, and I shouldn't say that, but it's how it felt. And I could see this being,
it's like an old Western.
Yeah. A great movie.
Yeah. A good movie.
Clint Eastwood out of retirement.
Also would be great in anime. I mean, this would be like one of those great animation series.
It would be like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Oh man, the live action, I haven't even really sat down to watch it, but I watched Cowboy Bebop over and over and over again. And this is one that you can definitely put in that style, and I will thoroughly enjoy it. 100%.
Definitely. Yeah. The live action, I enjoyed the live action for what it was. A lot of people didn't like it but that's because people aren't going to like everything. They canceled it already though, so it's not going to have a second season.
Then that's why I'm not going to watch it. I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, I mean they wrap up the first season pretty well, so it could be a standalone story, but they definitely leave some cliffhangers at the end where it's like, and then they cancel it. So. Yep.
And then everybody goes and watches the anime and sees how much better the anime is, because that anime was really well done.
Yeah. Now, I've watched some. I haven't watched the whole anime series, but I watched some of it. It's
I own it. I have it on DVD.
Yeah.
That was one of the first I watched all the way through, and then I was just like hooked. So
yeah. And then I'm trying to think about Harms. That's another character we didn't really talk too much about. Jackstrom Harms, the father of Steris.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so I had my ideas with him. I thought maybe he was in on it all because we don't know who Mr. Suit's working with.
Yeah, you don't.
But after his daughter was taken and the way he reacted, I was like, nah, he's not in on it. But he's not a major player in my mind. I feel like he's gone now.
Right. Yeah. True. So definitely. So I guess that's it. Unless anybody else has anything else that they want to ask. But just wanted to kind of get on here, talk about Alloy of All a little bit. These are going to be, we're about an hour in, so did a decent amount, cover a book.
For sure.
If anybody has more questions, you can always leave questions in comments after this. I mean, obviously this video will stay up, and we can get back to you and answer or send to Chris and things like that.
Definitely.
Make sure they get answered. You'd always check us out on our Discord. Oh wait, you got another. If you had to take down Miles' 100 lives, how would you do it?
I mean, he had the way. Like, so in my mind, Miles is much like an Inquisitor. You got to take his head off.
Right.
And that it's kind of sick. But in my mind, I was like, if he has gold earrings and he's got gold all over his body, if you chop his head off, do you get 2 miles? Like, once you sever the head and you disconnect the spinal cord from the brain, I feel like they should be permanently done.
That's like Deadpool. Deadpool, right? Deadpool can regenerate back up from it.
He recovered from so many things and he blew himself up.
Yeah.
Like, there is an actual answer. But and the other thought I had, which is really disgusting that I thought was going to happen, was when Wax trapped him in the car in the net. I thought that net was going to be something that could be like pulled on or pushed on, and it would like slice him into hundreds of pieces. Because that's another way. And unless the cells have it in their mind, because in the DNA, to then begin to trigger the feralchemy to heal and then create hundreds of Mileses, because that's what would have to happen, then that would be the other way to kill him.
Yeah, Ipa saying there's actually an answer to that question, the Cosmere. So.
And then my third way of killing, I did think about many ways to kill Miles. My third way I don't know that it would necessarily kill him, but it would torture him. And this came from, believe it or not, one of Vampire Diaries, I think it was, or one of the vampire shows. Seal him in one of these container units and drop him in the water and let him die over and over and like he was just drowned, but then would he recover and then continue to drown over and over and over again, or
for eternity?
Yes. So that
a poor steel coffin that allows water in, but
yep, there you go.
Yeah, but then when he run out of his minds eventually, I mean, he just store up.
But yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh. Hey, either way, it would kill him at some point.
At some point, eventually. That's actually an interesting take. Yeah. Just throw it in the river.
I mean, it was his idea. He wanted to do that to Wax. So I'm like, maybe that happens to you.
Yeah.
Talk about harmony.
Yeah.
Or irony.
Yeah. Definitely. So anyway, so like I said, come join us on Discord. You can find that at thewheelreads.com, find links to that. And we do have a cool Cosmere section. You have to click the Cosmonaut role and you'll get that all opened up. You can ask questions there as well. Chris has that role now as well. So if you ask in general and it's not spoilery, otherwise you have to go to the books to do that. But yeah. So that's all I got for this little session. Not like I said, not a long one. Looking forward to you read the next one. Are you starting that soon?
Yes, that's happening. Well, I got to see if I get my credit. Once I get my credit in, I'll be starting it probably Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah,
Chanel, I wouldn't spend any more money than what I needed.
There you Like those promises, yeah. I buy 3 credits at a time if I run out of my monthly credit, just so I can get 3 more titles because they did for cheap.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
Yeah, I think it's like
buy a book.
Like 30. It's like $30 for 3 credits or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't buy a book. I bought a credit or 3.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, like one book on Audible costs like on that $50-$60 sometimes. So like buy 3 credits for $30. I'm like, okay, that's worth it. In my mind. That's how I justify it. But yeah, I'm currently back in the Cosmere world. I'm reading Elantris right now. I'm almost done. So I never went and read those ones. It's a standalone novel. So yep. So
I like to get started Monday though, because I know if it's anywhere as short as this one is, I could be done by the end of the week. The end of the month, I've got another. I'm going out of town for a birthday party, and I got to pick up my tux.
At the end of the month. Fun.
So if I could get through this week, we could be back on next weekend, just because I'm thoroughly enjoying this. But if not, we'll be back in September.
Next weekend we have Water of Fortune.
Oh, that's right, we do.
Yeah, so
it'll be a long night.
That's next Saturday
or early morning
with the Black Tower podcast. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So anyway, that's all I got. So until next time.
Peace.
Okay, bye.